Hey everybody, welcome back to Hubby Can't Craft, the Mustang edition today. While I was working on some of the fuel inlet issues that I was having, not really issues, but just poor workmanship on the engine swap people. I didn't do it myself. There's some things that you want to leave to the professionals, or you want to leave to yourself when you have a lot of time. And so I didn't have a lot of time, so I had who I thought were professionals do the engine swap, and you know, they do more than I do. If they've done 3, they've done 2 more than me. And so I was going through looking at the fuel issues. I can show you that real quick. This Avenger 4-barrel carburetor, this rubber inlet system on here, and that comes with the carburetor, and it's got a 90 degree, or excuse me, it's not a 90 degree, it's got a barb T on it. And then they had, where'd it go? They had this 90 coming out of the fuel pump down here. 90 degree T. They had it on this barb fitting here. What didn't they do on here? I'll leave that in the comments, which nobody will comment on. But hey, shouldn't there be a hose clamp right there? Maybe, maybe not. I would have preferred one because it's on the pressure side. And even though these aren't putting, what, maybe 20 PSI at the max out. Why would you not have a clamp on there in case it blew off and spray now until it ran out of gas? Fuel all over the place. Anyway, so this ran up. This was down here. It ran up to there. Kind of kludged in like this. So I was in the process of finding a better way. So I got this guy here to put on there like that. What does that do? It puts it right underneath. Comes out right underneath here. So depending on which fuel line, factory fuel line you use, this guy, so that goes there, and you can see how it kind of winds up over here. So it's not right on, which you wouldn't expect it to be right on, because this will come out under here, and this thing up here, I could bend it down, but then it puts this, carrying fuel, right under this really warm heater hose spigot. And I'm thinking, well, if warming the fuel, usually, I don't think that's the point of the exercise. And there's kind of some interference, and if it rubbed, it would just cause a mess. So, maybe strike this, but then I found this guy. So this is out of a, what do they say on here? 67 to 7390 heater hose elbow. So that guy will fit in there and jack it way up. Of course, now it's up into, you know, way up here, like this high. Which is fine. It gets it off the valve cover and kind of on the wires, and so that's an option. Then this guy, this other fuel line here, so this goes in this, obviously down here, same place, but it routes under here like this. Sort of, like that. So that's pretty close to where I need to be over here, and in reality, I can cut this off, you know, somewhere around. I can cut this off down here, flare it, and put the hose back on. Part of the exercise was to maybe get a fuel filter on here, right? Kind of seems like a good idea, since the only fuel filter this has is the little sock that's in the tank, and that I think is new. I replaced that many years ago, so it should still be good. So this guy is a, I don't know, what is that, an 1/8 MPT, and this one here is the factory flared. I think it's 3/8 flared or something like that. This guy. And so I was hoping to put on this, I'll just show you real quick. This goes in here. That, hey, we're cooking with gas, so to speak. This threads in there, and when you get it all kind of screwed down and tight, get that kind of in there. As far as that'll go and, you know, tighten that all up. Now you put this on here, and you can kind of line it up, and you can say, well, excuse me, boop. You can kind of see, well, that's way out there, so that ain't gonna work. That looks like garbage. So what I've done is I've ordered a different fuel feed that stops I think about right here. It might stop here. And then I can put another T, kind of like, it's kind of like this guy. This T, I can put this T on the end of that, and then I can run that fuel line kind of maybe back here, and I can put maybe I can put a filter or something in here. But it still just grinds my gears that for as many motors and carburetors as Holley, Edelbrock, all these guys sell, why wouldn't you get custom tube? I mean, if you're going to sell, I don't know, 1,000 of these or more, I mean, they're not super expensive, so they can't not be selling a bunch of them. Why wouldn't you have them make you know, here's a 65 inlet tube custom made for the retrofit of a 4-barrel Holley or an Edelbrock or whoever carburetor. It baffles me. So yeah, I can take this down to the pipe place where I bought a lot of these fittings, and they can try to get it close and then not do this here and bend that over and back or whichever way I need it. But in reality, it's just another step that, you know, you have to take. And I've looked at a lot of them online, and some use braided hose, which is real nice, and some, you know, do what I'm trying to do with the factory tubing and get it kind of figured out. But it's not obvious. And I guess maybe if you're a builder and you've done this a lot, you go, oh yeah, you just do this and this. But for your average guy who's going to buy this carburetor, and that's factory fuel pump on this factory style engine with not a lot of modifications. Another thing is the vacuum advance. I got that piece on order. Of course, the vacuum advance comes out of the distributor, and a lot of ones you see online is this. It's just a tube, and this one had a compression fitting coming out of here. Then it loops up and it comes up and over, and then on the side of the carburetor is the vacuum. So I need to connect that back. I've got the actual one on, and like, well, why don't you just put a tube in there, dummy? That's fine. It just doesn't look as nice. And I realize people are going to open the hood and say, oh, you've different intake, different carburetors and that. But when this big honker thing is on there, you don't really, you know, it kind of masks a lot of that. And so why not have a nice hard line coming up here, a nice hard line coming out of here, and I think it'll just look just a little bit better, like I tried. I've got a few of the fuel inlet tubes for this Holley Avenger 4-barrel, and the one that came when they did the engine swap was the setup. This was the hose that was on here before. So it was down here with an adapter, kind of wrapped around here. This was into the carburetor business here like that, and it came with the setup, and then they put this hose on here like this, and that went down to the fuel pump, and that's just kind of ugly and gross. There was no hose clamp on this end. Maybe this isn't supposed to have a hose clamp, but I thought that was kind of odd. I think I would have put one on there anyway. I'm not going to reuse these guys. I'm going to get some twisty clamps, or just a regular hose clamp like we all know and love that used to be on here. I'll cut that back, because what I think I'm going to do, time out, is show you what I'm not going to do. So this is a factory hose from a, I think this is a 66 or 7, or maybe it's with air or some crazy thing. So it goes down to the fuel pump pretty well, but it wraps around the front of the engine like that, roughly, and it's got a big loop at the bottom. It doesn't go under this, so it goes down there like that. This guy here has to go, and while I like it, it's just not going to work. So this goes under here, like that. Jeez, okay, there we go. and connects on like that. And this hose is going to come like this. And it's just not right. I got a new riser for the water jacket. This guy, they also made one that kind of is a hoop. Stupid things are 30 bucks. Hopefully I can sell that to somebody or return it. Of course, the shipping and blah, blah, blah. So I'll probably just keep it. So this was close. It puts the fuel inlet right under there, and with any kind of I couldn't get any kind of a filter on there because they were all sticking out way too far. So that with any kind of an adapter, they were hitting up here. So that's just not going to work. So the 66.7 tube is not going to work for me. The one I am going to use is this little fits real nice up into there. So it's just a metal version of the other one. I can do that, and I got this Edelbrock inline come like this. So we'll kind of thread this where it's supposed to be in here. That'll get that. I'll thread that correctly down there. I just have to tighten it up and then bend it where I want it, because this will snug up looking straight on. Let's zoom in here. How this is going to fit. So there'll be a hose to here. Hose off of this guy, a little section to there, and then I'll clip that angle off and somehow bend that down a little bit, hopefully without cracking, breaking, or fudging it up. And actually, if I can put a piece of hose that'll kind of rock up on top, that will be, it'll hide underneath. A lot of work for it being hidden under the cover, but I also don't want any leaks if I can help it. And I've already got so many joints on here, it's kind of making me nervous. So hopefully we can do that. And I'll do a little I'll do the steps as we get there. In addition, they had put this goofball thing here. There we go. Like this. So that kind of sucked on there on the vacuum advance. So I got this nice stainless one. I'll screw it here. This, and that's going to have to be bent over into the right direction once it's all tightened up. So that'll be good. The reason, it goes way over there, and it only needs to go to here. Where's my finger? It only needs to have a little tube to here. And I tried to find some, what did I try to find? A connector with a barb on the end that would go onto that. And that's just not going to be found. So I'll just, and it's just vacuum. So I will put the hose that it came with on there to here, to here. And I'll get that bent to hopefully look good. Where it normally goes, I've got the factory carburetor here. Kind of take a look. Took me a second. Right under there is where it normally goes. The other end of that vacuum advance. So I've marked on my swivel adapter here and on the side here where I'm hoping this is all going to line up. I'll put some not much you can do but really get them tight, so we'll kind of work our way back and forth. Here. Feels pretty tight. I'll put this guy kind of here, so we'll mark that. I'm going to leave a little piece on here. I can always cut it back. All right. Oh, look at that. Okay, so now on this side, it's going to kind of go right in there. And without the tension on it, it's kind of riding pretty close to where it needs to be. There is a clip that I need to get that clips the fuel line to the block so it doesn't rattle around and keeps it good and solid. So I need to, it might go on this. Actually, I need to look that up because I want to get, you know, it's, sometimes it's not about, well, it just doesn't matter for a car that's driven, you know, 1,000 miles a year, if that. You just kind of want to do it right and make it look like you thought about it rather than just tacking it together. So hopefully that is the impression I'm giving. Well, how the heck is that going to work? Gosh darn it, I probably just cut that off for no reason. Now it ain't going to work. Shoot. Just put a hose in. Ouch! Damn it, that hurt. Well, as luck would have it, I found the old line. Let's see where it lines up when it's screwed in. Yeah, that's the way today's gone. So this is the in front of the carburetor one when it's kind of more screwed in. So let's see how that plays with the power steering pump assembly. If I can mess up my finger again. So it goes up here, then it kind of goes around, and not exactly where I need it for that, but because this guy is now totally in the wrong spot, but I guess I could go here with a straight one. And then just a piece of tube here. It's not exactly what I wanted to do, but it would probably be a piece of hose that came up. Or they broke it off. It looks like they just snapped it off, honestly. Maybe somebody had snapped it off. Huh. I gotta think about it. Alright. So this is kind of I put the power steering pump bracket on so kind of get a little feel for how this is all playing out. You can see right down here it comes up underneath the bracket. And this is where I think it needs to make a 90-degree up. So I'll put a little piece of tape here. This is I want it to do, actually, probably this would be easier. This can just go straight up. All right. I don't have a new tube, but I have a new idea. I'm gonna see if the place down near where I work, they will either sell me or sell and bend me a new tube, and I'll just get on with it that way. So what it'll do is it'll mount down there where it's supposed to, and then this piece of wire is following the new path, and then I'll cut that somewhere in here where I need to. So that would be a hard line all the way up to the top of the motor and then straight over. So that's what I'd like to do. So this is the fuel tube off the 65 Mustang, and I think I showed this earlier, but just in case I didn't, this wire shows the route that I want it to take. So from the fuel pump comes up behind the power steering pump bracket, comes up. Now that I'm back at home, I can mess with it, but up here, turns and goes across the valve cover and then in front of the carburetor. Well, this one goes in front of the distributor and back, and so that's not where I need it at all. And so I had taken this piece to the office, and the guy bent it with the wrong bender, and it kinked it kind of. So I kind of unbent it, and I'm like, well, maybe I can unbend this. I hate ruining another one because I already ruined this one. This one comes out in a different spot I need to check that again. I don't understand. I'm going to check that again. This might work, as it should work. It shouldn't be determinant whether you have power steering or not, but it's going to be kind of a dance of what goes where and when. And I think the deal is this is going to have to go in wherever spot it lands, and this clip up here that I don't have probably sets the distance off of this. Maybe it's this bolt. It's fine, so I don't know what I was thinking before, but who knows? So we'll go with that. Stand by. Here's my back. So that fits kind of in there. Maybe I can make a... I wasn't so intent on using this. I could just have one piece of hose go over there, but I'd rather have a filter. What we've got today from the S show that we're having here is we're going to put this guy, since it doesn't matter which way it goes, here. So I'm going to just cut this back to, oh, look at that. I'd rather have it this way. So I just need maybe to my knuckle of line. We'll cut that piece, get that on there, and then we'll cut the other piece to fit when we get this hose screw down in here. Hopefully this is tight. I should have tested, but I don't think there's really any way of testing it. We'll run up kind of where it's supposed to and just kind of work its way around there, and hopefully that'll all be good. Well, and after watching, I don't know how many hours of watch JR go, he uses the fast way. Man, oh man, oh shucks. Doodle on. Convertible, it only goes on kind of one way, this thing, snorkel, so yeah, now it doesn't have that big stupid tube running in the front, but I do have this doodle yet to put on. So that's kind of way off. Let's see where that would go. Another carburetor back. Well, as usual, we're almost out of batteries, but what I've done is I've taken the vacuum tube it goes down in here, this guy. So I've kind of got it lined up. And I'm going to cut, much to my chagrin, right about here. And then I'll push this, it'll allow it to be down here, and then I'm going to use a piece of hose from here up to there. And I think since it'll be hidden, it'll work great. So we'll just cut this with the tube cutter right where my fingers are. And I've had such good luck with tubes lately that, you know, why not just keep going? So cut this. This tube bent really well, so it's either mild steel or aluminum. I'm going to run that right down into the engine compartment. All right, let's try that. Next up will be pressurizing the system. All right, so a little bit different perspective here. So I've got the battery hooked back up. I've got the power steering belt hooked back on. I put this in, I don't know if that was in the last one, a little bumper here. I think I got that kind of bent. Doesn't look too bad, nicked off a little bit on the end. For the vacuum advance, this is kind of hidden back here. This is on. I'm going to crank it a few times to pump up the carb. My biggest fear is back here. Because that is where each of these inlets has a filter built in there. Man, is it a little bit of a pain to get it seated right. So it's got a spring in it, and it's kind of a, I mean, I guess it's a good design. It's just, could they make it any more challenging to get in an odd spot? So that's where I'm worried about it leaking. If anywhere is here, but we'll set this. All right, prime the pump a little bit, put this back on. Well, here we are, running, no leaks that I can tell, so pretty quiet, it's pretty smooth. All right. Little shakedown run. You can see look over here, you can see the fuel connection rail buried down underneath there. And the filter down underneath there, and the fuel tube running up inside the power steering pump, all nice and tight. And this guy's, I guess it's okay. Ouch, hot, as it should be. I just went around the block. So I think that's good. And button back up, and hopefully good for the season. We'll see. I knew I forgot something. Thanks for watching Hubby Can't Craft. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for stopping by.